Hello, everybody. Shaquita Graham here, founder of AtecoWeb.com. I am here with my sister, Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses of SuccessfulBlackWoman.com. We're going to have some fun with this topic, even though it's very serious and vital to the Black community that we pay attention to this. There was an article in the Washington Post. It was over a year ago. It says, "Don't be a bachelor. Why married men work harder, smarter, and make more money." So I'm going to share the screen on this. And then, Noma, I just want to hear your initial thoughts about this.
Okay.
All right. So they have 4 reasons why married men work harder, they're smarter, and they make more money. So let me get down to it. They talk about men assuming a new identity as a passage into manhood once they're married. Married men are motivated to maximize their income. They benefit from the advice and encouragement of their wives, and employers like married men with children. So what do you have to say about this, Noma?
I like that first thing. It says that it changes the identity. What I like about it is, it's funny, my husband and I were just talking about this the other day, and he was actually saying that somebody that he works with had invited him to a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, one of those. And I said, you know what's interesting about this is that the Jews have a rite of passage, and they have a point in time in a young person's life where they want them to shift their mindset and shift their identity. And I said to him, actually, in a lot of African cultures, you'll find that, when Western media looks at a lot of our cultures, they'll be like, oh, look at them, they're circumcising them, and look at this, and it's unsanitary and all this other stuff. And they ignore what the actual thing is. It's a process of initiation. And you go basically from being a boy into being a man. And it's actually told to you that you're now a man, and these are your responsibilities, and this is how you're going to care and provide for your family. And it's very, very specific. And it sets your mindset differently than when you just go through life aimlessly. And I think that's very, very powerful.
I agree. It's amazing how marriage and family propel you. It motivates you, and it is very sobering because, in order to get the Black community in this place of nationhood, rebuilding, and things like that, we have to start to take on these personas of leadership, innovative thinking, being able to command, large groups of people and have an agenda and things like that. And all of that starts with having your own family. So I totally agree with that. Now, they also said that they're very motivated to maximize their income. A lot of people can be afraid of this, but once again, things that challenge you make you stronger. And I mean, how many times have we've heard so many people, reach out to us about marriage and things like that, but we've heard people have fears and concerns saying that marriage is not beneficial to both genders and things like that. And I totally disagree with that. There's so much power in marriage and family, and that's why you see Black love being censored, being attacked. That is a major weapon that we have to overcome white supremacy, which is like the most devastating global phenomenon the world is facing right now.
Yeah, and I think another thing that we have to think about it is because, the one thing that we have to do is stop looking at it at a macro level and look at it at a macro level. Because what happens with a person who's thinking about marriage, sometimes they think, I don't know if I could deal with another person. And they're thinking on such a small level, rather than thinking in the grand scheme of things, I'm building a family. I'm building something that's going to bring stability, legacy, building wealth. And it's a big, big deal, rather than just thinking about whether or not you can get along with another person. And then while we're on that topic, when you think about getting along with another person, if you just look at it as getting along with another person and you miss the big picture, then once again, you're going to play small. But sometimes when things are not exactly right, or you're having disagreements and so forth, and you look at it that in the grand scheme of things, I can get over this little thing, because in the bigger picture, it's going to work, and it's going to work to our benefit, and the greater benefit of the community.
I mean, again, I just go back to the fact that when I read, you know, I'm doing this whole series on the techoweb.com about systems of oppression. So I'm reading all of these different books by white supremacists and their motivations for white supremacy and white world dominance. And one of their main fears is the power of procreation between Black people. And so I have actually seen Facebook pages being taken down because people just have a simple picture of a Black family, a Black mother, Black father, Black children, and they say something like Black love. We see it being attacked in the media. I can't think of a place on television or even in a film recently that I can go and see a Black woman and a Black man in a loving, nurturing relationship, honoring their roles as mother and father, wife and husband. So we know that this is a threat to white supremacy. And because of the plight we are in related to white supremacy, we need to take notes of all threats, and we need to get on board with making that happen in our lives. So that's one thing. It could free us from a lot of the oppression. But the other thing is that, you know, family is a good thing. I mean, you do look at, you see all of these negative ideas and connotations about what marriage is and how negative it can be. But there's many people who, you know, even in the worst of times, they have so much love for their mate. They've had good times with that person. And, you know, the life that they created together, it's hard for them to forget or to leave. And I can just say for me that my husband and I have made each other so much stronger. I've learned so much from him. He's learned so much from me. We're different people than who we could have been without one another.
Absolutely. Just to piggyback on what you're saying, it's really sad that a lot of times when we hear people talking about marriage and family, especially in the Black community, it's in a negative context. But again, when we were talking in another segment about, you know, being the architect of your life, if you had to step back and build a life, would you rather, if you were a person, just a person, would you rather go through life walking on 2 feet or 2 legs, or hopping through on one? It's kind of obvious that you would want 2 legs, but a lot of people just seem to choose to hop. And it's just, it's baffling, because we've, again, been socialized to believe that walking on 2 legs, which is the natural thing. A man was made for a woman, and a woman was made for a man. It's the natural thing. We've been socialized to believe that it's too hard, or it's too much, or you're better off hopping. But it sounds ridiculous when you put it in that context of, why would you hop when you could simply walk and run? You get so much farther, you get so much more done, and it's much more natural and much more comfortable. And that's how I look at marriage. It's like one leg supports the other. The man supports the woman, and the woman supports the man. And you go through life learning from each other, teaching each other, encouraging each other, holding each other up. And again, a lot of times you're fighting a battle, sometimes that you can't see. And it's better for you if you have somebody who has your back, rather than if you're always looking out for your own self and nobody's really having your back.
Exactly. I mean, life, business, parenting, it's a team sport. Bottom line, it's a team sport. It's hard to go through it alone. I'm not trying to say that every single person on the earth is cut out for marriage, but I think that most people are. In the Black community, they are. I think we should be raising our children. See, we have to start the cycle of raising our children, preparing them for marriage. I talk to my children about, what are you looking for in a mate now?
Yes.
You know, we talk about character traits. We talk about looking on the inside of a person. A lot of the catastrophes we see is because we haven't valued marriage and ingrained the, conflict resolution skills and coping skills, and, prepared our children to think about being prepared for marriage and think about planning for a mate. That's what we need to overcome, not get rid of marriage. We just need to get rid of the disregard for valuing marriage and preparing for marriage. And I think that we all win when we focus around, making marriage a priority and making it important in our community.
Absolutely. Just a little funny story. When my daughter, who's about to be 10 years old right now, when she was younger, and she would tell me, she said, "Mommy, when I grow up, I want to marry Daddy." And we thought it was so funny. But that made me really happy because number one, she was already in her mind understanding that marriage is a good thing and it's something that she looks forward to. And then it also made me respect my husband because he must have been modeling something that made her think that when I grow up, I want something like this. And even now as they get older, they still say similar things. When I asked my daughter to describe her future husband, she basically describes her dad. Not him specifically, but his attributes, Right. She says, "I want him to have big muscles," and her dad has big muscles. And it's so funny because she's seeing our marriage as a positive thing, and she's seeing her father as a positive role model and a guideline for what she should look for in a man. And the same applies to my son. He'll say a lot of things like, "Oh, I want my wife to have a laptop and work at home." And I'm thinking, her choice, not yours, But it just goes to show that if you teach your kids that this is a positive thing, that we're building, we're a family, and when you leave here, you're going to do the same thing. When we have things that need to be talked about and so forth, we talk to our kids about it. Even when we don't agree, we say, "This is what I think, this is what Daddy thinks, this is what Mommy thinks, and this is how we're not agreeing," and so forth. And I'm not saying you should burden your kids with adult issues, but at the same time, they have to understand that it's not rosy all the time, and that when conflicts come up, you have to overcome them, and the family still continues. The unit still continues, and we still stay together in spite of sometimes not agreeing or not seeing eye to eye on everything.
Right. I mean, we need to prepare and train our children up for real life and for the future and for a new type of future. Yeah. And this is the thing in the Black community. I just feel like, I welcome the people who are ready to think differently about the state of the Black future, because at techoweb.com, I do say that, the best way to predict the future is to create it. But do we believe we can create our own future, our own narrative? We buy into the narrative of other people, many times oppressive forces, about what marriage is, what Black relationships are, what Black love is, how can Black businesses be, how can we exist? We have to go to somebody else to get their idea of how we should exist. But anyway, we're both passionate about marriage, about family, about Black people. We could talk forever. That's why we have marriedwomensbusiness.com. Go there and register. Stay connected with us. You never know when, we may not, we want to be able to reach you in case we are on different platforms. So definitely go and register there. Thank you, Nomalanga, my sister, for being in this segment with me.
Thank you, Shaquita, and thanks everybody for watching.
Goodbye.